Hi, my name is Richardson, and I'm a researcher at the University of Alberta. We're here on the coast of western Hudson Bay, just outside of Churchill, Manitoba, and all around us is one of the most well-studied polar bear populations in the world. I've been fortunate enough to be working on these bears for 10 years now, and currently I'm working on my PhD looking at the impacts of climate change on polar bears in this part of the Canadian Arctic. Over the long term, scientists from Environment Canada and the Canadian Wildlife Service have demonstrated this population of polar bears is being impacted by climate change. They've looked at changes in sea ice in relation to the warming world, and what they've found is the earlier the ice breaks up here in western Hudson Bay, the poorer the condition the bears are in. This is because the bears are having restricted access to their primary food source, which is the ring seal and the bearded seal. When the bay melts, the bears are forced ashore, and they don't have access to their food sources, and so they have to live off their body reserves for several months. And the Canadian Wildlife Service has been able to show that this has significant impacts on the survival of both young individuals and old individuals. So young cubs that are a year or two old, as well as really old bears that are coming towards the end of their life. And so this has really significant implications for the long-term survival of this particular population of polar bears. As part of my PhD research at the University of Alberta, I'm looking at how climate change is continuing to affect things like growth. So when bears are born and the environmental conditions are poor, how does that affect their growth? How does it influence when they start to reproduce as adults? What's their probability of survival if they're born into a year with really bad sea ice? This year in western Hudson Bay, it's particularly warm, and it was very warm in the central part of the Canadian Arctic. Back in the 1980s, there would have been sea ice out on the bay already, but right now there's no sea ice. The bears are sitting waiting to get back out on the ice to get to their food, and so we're here with Polar Bears International, Frontiers North Adventures. We're working with scientists from CBD to look at the bears and to see how they're doing, and to communicate to people what the issue is here with the bears and climate change, and to get the message out that something needs to be done.